Tengen lied to us all. Tengen is suspect, and there's numerous things to indicate this supposed all-knowing being is the biggest fumbler in the world. I used to think our number one deadbeat Toji was the person who caused the most damage to the Jujutsu world, till we met Grandma Tengen. But first, Tengen did not inform anybody else about the potential of other star plasma vessels to merge with, and only specified Riko because she was special. Currently, we do not know what made Riko so special, that she completely ignored the other star plasma vessels, which is the first indication to suspect behavior. Yuki's dialogue with Tengen, and Tengen tried to defend themselves by saying this process of evolution was going to occur anyway, so it was if she was accepting the change of seasons. Well, in my opinion, that is just stupid, because as a human being, we're going to die anyway. Do I then decide to speed up the process if I get sick because it will happen anyway? By Tengen merging with a different plasma vessel, they extend their life longer and prevent themselves from being a danger to humanity. And then when it gets to a point where they can no longer prevent themselves from being a danger to humanity, then it would make sense for them to accept that reality of then evolving. However, their current mindset to let it happen is 1. Irresponsible, 2. Completely invalidates the previous star plasma vessel's sacrifice, and 3. Showcases Yuki's rage with Tengen in the first place. Yuki's comment saying if that's reasonable, then you might as well call me a great sage. Like cook, she was cooking.
Yes, sir, this nigga's spitting. Damn, nigga.
She is spitting and highlights the nonsense of his point of view. The irresponsibility of an immortal being who has needed a star plasma vessel to sustain their humanity. But Tengen decided to take a gamble, but they can use their barrier to maintain their sanity. And why would you take such a risk if you were not confident it could occur? Regardless, it worked out, but it highlights the irresponsibility of the so-called knowing Tengen. Tengen has completely invalidated the sacrifices of the previous star plasma vessels who she merged with by not continuing the merger process until she could not merge anymore. The countless star plasma vessels sacrificed have in essence been put in vain, with now Kenjaku looking very likely to merge with Tengen. The burden of responsibility that these star plasma vessels' children have had to take have become meaningless as they were trying to prevent the worst case scenario for humanity that Tengen has nicely gradually made more accessible. This leads nicely to 3. Yuki's rage with Tengen, as she stated she won't allow Tengen to go off easy, as like I mentioned, she let the children do the work for you. For a person who has stated to not be involved in human affairs, but acts in the best interest of humanity by keeping and protecting barriers, the whole merger system has lost its credibility if 1. Yuki was a previous star plasma vessel who we assume rejected the merger, 2. There were other star plasma vessels to stabilize Tengen, and 3. Tengen knew that the star plasma vessel, Tengen and Six Eyes are bounded by fate, so why would you allow that fate to be broken? We all blame Toji, the previous breaker of fate, but Tengen is actually the real criminal and has allowed fate to come to pass by not merging with a previous star plasma vessel. This is especially showcased with back in 145, when Tengen states previously Kenjaku killed a Six Eyes user and a previous star plasma vessel, yet Tengen still merged with another vessel, so accepting reality isn't consistent, because wouldn't Tengen have then decided to accept the changing of seasons after the previous star plasma vessel had died? However, we learn to find out is that the Six Eyes and star plasma vessel appeared, and if we go back to 2006, Tengen made it seem as if there was no other star plasma available, but we come to the modern day and we learn that there were other vessels, just not with the potential for Riko. Tengen does not state whether the vessel that reappeared that Kenjaku killed had the same potential as the one killed, and just that they reappeared, which makes Tengen suspect, because if they did not have the same potential, which is my guess, why did they not tame the same action as they did from before? This validates Yuki's whole mindset towards Tengen, as Tengen is extremely irresponsible because in the same chapter 146, Tengen makes it seem as if Toji breaks fate and broke their destinies, but Tengen did not mention that there were other suitable candidates to merge with. This makes it extremely difficult to trust Tengen, as their actions have not been fully convincing to work in the best interest of humanity, plus they lied about Toji being the reason of the failed merger, because there were other suitable candidates. So free my boy Toji, he's been framed from the Jujutsu world collapse when it was this bozo thumb. Now the biggest suspect thing from Tengen is Tengen saying he does not know Kenjaku's plan, but has actually given us details of what it could entail. First, Tengen allowed themselves to evolve when they know Kenjaku has made 2 previous attempts to kill the 6 eyes in a star plasma vessel, with 1 successful attempt, but which later led to them reappearing. So why did Tengen then assume that Kenjaku would never try to do the same again? Especially as Tengen stated she is aware of Kenjaku's prowess as a sorcerer. This is shown with the fact that Tengen knows he's the 2nd best barrier user, and 2, Tengen had accurate information on the CUlling game ritual, which could assume potentially this could have been something that was either talked about in the past or potentially occurred in the past. Furthermore, Tengen knows accurate details of his plan and what could happen if the worst case scenario occurred, yet still chose to ignore these warnings and not to merge with another star plasma vessel. Finally, the last piece of the puzzle is the Star Religious Group, which ties into my theory that Kenjaku was the previous head of the group and the student of Tengen. Now first, hear me out before, and also remember this is a theory, but when we go back to the Star Religious Group, they said some interesting things which makes me think they have a relationship with Kenjaku. But before that, let me explain the potential relationship between Tengen and Kenjaku. First, in chapter 145, Tengen refers to Kenjaku as that child. And this is from the Japanese translations. We know JJK has a problem with translations in general, but the tone of familiarity could show that they have some sort of connection or at least knew each other in the past. Furthermore, Tengen is number 1 barrier technique user, with Kenjaku being number 2 in barriers, and both of them have an immortal innate technique, with Kenjaku body swap and Tengen's immortality. From what we know, Kenjaku was in the Heian era, and Tengen was started to do teachings in the Nara period, which is before the Heian era began. The only contradiction is due from the CUlling game, which was a second incarnation in the Chinese Civil War, which happened in the, I can't say the period, so I will put up a picture right now. This could potentially mean Kenjaku was born even earlier than that, but currently both of their respective time periods is not clear. However, with Tengen spreading the Japanese Buddhism in the Nara period and the moral foundation of Jujutsu, he was not stated to be the founder, however a person they looked up to as a deity. We then learned that the Jujutsu world and religious groups did not see eye to eye with each other, which led to the creation of the Time Vessel Association. Now with them following Tengen, what could be so different that they would not want the merger to continue, because people who have followed his teachings should understand the importance of the merger process with Tengen and humanity. This leads to my theory that Kenjaku was a student who was curious of both cursed energy, and later founded a time association group with certain rules and doctrines. One thing that was interesting was the Star Religious Group leader at the time stated that the merger was taboo, and they have stopped the one thing the doctrine mentioned. The current only person we know of who has constantly tried to prevent the merger is Kenjaku himself. It would not be the first time he's manipulated a group of huge influence, as seen with him taking over the Kamo clan. It would explain the Star Religious Group being so fixated on stopping the merger, and explain why they feel no ways if humanity was to fall, they would follow Tengen to the end. And this is because Kenjaku has told them potentially this is the right path in the future. In addition, Kenjaku's name means a rope of salvation, which is fitting for a Star Religious Group founder, but to take it to a step further, the being is supposed to use its rope to catch lost souls to salvation, and this sounds very religious-like. So what if Kenjaku, posing with this divine name, used it as a basis to become the leader and help these souls to salvation through first stopping the merger with Tengen? We also saw that with Yuki first finding out the name of Kenjaku and said it was something of compassion and nice name, which is obviously contradictory with the actions we seen with Kenjaku. This being was also in the Nara period and be consistent with Kenjaku being there if you take into account him having made a deal with Juve, who's supposed to be from a period before the Nara period due to the civil war that happened in China. This could mean Tengen started teaching in the Nara period but began to learn about the foundations in the previous period, and Kenjaku, one of those individuals who he researched with the foundations of Jujutsu. Furthermore, in the recent chapter, Kenjaku stated he worked with previous sorcerers before to find a new source of cursed energy and cursed spirits. So what if this prodigal child decided to take it a step further and go from the person who he learnt the foundations of Jujutsu and see how Jujutsu could be expanded upon far beyond his current knowledge? To wrap this back to Tengen, Tengen has made no comments on the Star religious group, or even begin to acknowledge what they've done in hiring an assassin to kill the Star Plasma Vessel. So this could indicate maybe he's aware of their shady existence, but has felt guilty because she is responsible for the potential upbringing of Kenjaku, who was a student who followed his teachings. This will also answer something that is very interesting, in the fact that we know Kenjaku has tried to stop the previous Star Plasma Vessels from merging with Tengen, but what we can assume is that he did not have curse spirit manipulation. This could indicate to us as the audience that there is potentially another way for Kenjaku to merge with Tengen that Tengen either has not explained or is currently just unaware of. However, this could cement that there is another relationship between them, even though I severely doubt that he is a Star Plasma Vessel, but there is something concrete that we are missing in that regard. But yeah, this could be just one huge reach, so let me know. but overall, Tengen is suspect to me. However, to the Tengen's defenders, I have one defense, which is that Tengen is like the Soul King and has tried their best to be in the best interests of society. They could just work passively and only when asked, and that could explain why when Yuji and Ko came to ask questions, she answered, of course, with the promise of getting protection from Kenjaku. This is, in my opinion, rules out them working together. However, it does not prevent them previously knowing each other. And let me know your thoughts on what I have covered, as well as on my Kenjaku is the head of the Star Plasma religious group theory. Thank you for watching, and let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and make a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen videos. And check out my second channel, I will be streaming more frequently there, and the links are all in the description below.
Mark is on his way, boy. Why you keep ghosting?